So we are trying to, okay, here we go. So this is our agenda. I will introduce myself and the team and then give you a few updates, and Karen will also add some more. And then we will have a presentation on biotechnology career pathways. Then we'll get a break, so you can have some more coffee and snacks. And then Luz will go over the supply ordering and kit reservation procedures. And then we'll go over the resources, because as you know, we have so many of them, and sometimes it's tough to navigate all the parts of our website with the resources. And then finally, we'll have giveaway and raffle. So, welcome back to ABE-LA and to the school year. And all of us look forward to working with you this year, and I know some of you have been with us for a very long time. So we're thrilled to have you come back. My name is Shahira Badran. I was onboarded on April 10th, so I'm relatively new, and we've had major changes since April 10th, so you're going to meet my new team members. If you would like to learn more about me, you can click on the bio. I don't want to spend too much time, but I am an educator. My whole career was dedicated to education. So I started my education journey as a high school teacher, like yourself. In 97, I'm very old, in 97, I taught high school in Somerville in Massachusetts. I was the AP biology teacher. I taught 8 full years, and then I transitioned to community college teaching. So I was a full-time professor and biotech program coordinator at Bunker Hill Community College. If you know Boston, it's the biggest college right outside Boston by that monument. I was there for about 5 years. And then we moved here in 2009. And then I tried to work with this program already in 2010, by the way. And I met Marty Ekanda, who was the founder of the program, but they didn't have any positions. Anyhow, I continued working in the community college system here. I taught at many different community colleges and Cal State LA. And then I transitioned into workforce development, which I loved. So up until a few months ago, I was working, basically focused on adult training. There is a biotech academy at LA Valley College that trains traditional and non-traditional students, adult learners, and prepares them for employment. So we focus on all aspects of employment. Anyhow, so that's what I was doing last. I also have a very different aspect to my career. I am a facilitator for anti-bias education at the Museum of Tolerance. So I work with all types of educators and administrators who come to the museum for professional development in that area. And the museum is like my second family, but that's a different story. I don't want to spend time on that. So you can look up their programs if you're interested in that. Without further ado, I would love to introduce in person my amazing team. So in the front, we have Samantha, Liano.
Call me mid-bagel.
Do you want to tell them very briefly who you are?
Hi, I'm Samantha Liano. I used to be a recent graduate at UC Davis. I've been doing research for 3 years. I've been working with the FDA and USDA on different types of drug testing. So yes, I'm hoping to meet all of you guys for their pickups. So, yep.
And you all heard from Samantha already.
Yes.
So now you get to meet her in person. And then we have Professor Wu, Jo Wu. Many of you know Professor Wu. And she is obviously not with us today because they're all the way out in Fullerton. So they're going to have their own event at the end of the month, and we announced that through emails. And you're welcome to attend there again if you'd like. Or if you have colleagues who live out that area, just remind them. And Professor Wu has a team that you may not know because I don't know if you go there, but we have Gladys, and Kennedy was just onboarded same time almost like Samantha in July. So we had a lot of onboarding going on. And then I don't think I need to introduce Karen. Do I have to say anything about Karen?
She has a loud mouth and she's a biologist.
We love her. Karen?
Great.
Karen is the backbone of the program. Without Karen, none of us would be here. So I think, because if I start introducing Karen more, we will be here for the rest of the day, right? Nothing will run without Karen. So, and she will continue to support all of you. And as you all know, I don't know if you all know, but Karen is, I don't want to say the oldest, right? That doesn't sound
I'm the
good.
oldest. LAPM meetings, I'm the only one there with gray hair, sorry.
She has been here the longest. So, all right. And then we have Dr. Chandra Arora. I don't know if anyone here knows her. Yes? Okay. Dr. Arora is a full-time professor at LA Mission College, and Mitzi over here, where is Mitzi? Let me see. There is Mitzi. Mitzi is a graduate of the biotech program at LA Mission College, and Mitzi is a full-time student this fall and supports us part-time. We have a small distribution center over there that we're hoping to grow. So again, if you know any teachers in that area, please spread out the word. And of course, Dr. Arora is a big champion of biotech. I have actually known her for many years, and we go back a long way because of the biotech workforce development. Then Luz is in the back. So Luz has been here longer than me. Luz is a superstar. Luz, introduce yourself, please, briefly.
My name is Luz Hernandez. I'm the site coordinator and lab technician for CSUCI. To all my Ventura teachers, thank you for driving out. I see you guys. I used to be a biology lab tech at Caltech before this, and I also used to develop STEM programs for museum and school settings. So just the general bio nerd.
Thank you. Thank you, Luz. Mitzi, I apologize because I went back to Dr. Aurora's slide. I'm sorry. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Mitzi Navarreno, and I'm the lab tech coordinator at Mission College. I am currently a full-time student. And this past summer, I completed my associate's degree in biotechnology. So it's my first degree I completed after high school. And next fall of 2024, I'll be transferring to Cal State Northridge to major in graduate degree in biology and pre-med and biotechnology.
Okay. Thank you, Mitzi. So here is a great success story of what I'm going to present on later. The education pathways that we have now that are non-traditional. They're not your traditional 4-year degrees. And Mitzi is a product of that, of a pathway like that. Thank you, Mitzi. And then we have Robert in the front who just joined us. So Robert is our most recent hire. Robert, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Robert Wynn. Like yourself, I actually came from teaching, so this is a new job for me. I just started last month. I decided I'd try something different, and it's been exciting. Great to work with the team. I kind of miss being in a classroom, dealing with kids, but I can relate to all of you, so I look forward to working with you. I'll be representing the Central and South LA area, and so I'm hoping to meet all of you here that are from that area, and also do some outreach with new schools in that area as well.
Yeah, so that's LA Trade Tech, and we're focused on that area because it has a high density of Slate Z schools and other schools. Basically, it's a term we use for schools where we have that have communities of of students that are under-resourced and also underrepresented, in particular in STEM. So it's not just minorities, but also the underrepresentation in STEM. All right. So again, if you have any colleagues or in that area, please spread out the word. So these are our distribution centers. We're now at 6, and you also can see a little bit the hierarchy of our structure, because of course we're not alone. We get funding from the Amgen Foundation, and that supports the program office, which is mainly on the East Coast, and they are also supported by EDC, which I'll mention later on again. That's the Education Development Center that you see over here. And we're also supported by New England Biolabs. So just to acknowledge. In terms of numbers, you can see, our numbers here. So just like with everybody, all other programs in education, numbers dropped because of the pandemic, whether it's teachers or students, and now everybody's slowly recovering from the pandemic. And so we are hoping, of course, to increase our outreach and our numbers, right? Have you seen changes in your classrooms this semester or this year? Yes? Okay. Are numbers going up? Down? Still? Some up, some down? Okay. Because I know I had a meeting a few days ago at LA Trade Tech, and their numbers have gone up 30%. But I mean, again, that's different. That's community college, so might be a little bit different demographic. All right, so we wanted to just show you some pictures of our new centers. So this is the Mission College Distribution Center where Mitzi and Dr. Aurora are. It's a great campus, and we are actually hosting a biannual event there for the program office in a few weeks. This is the LA Trade Tech Center, which is relatively new. The distribution center, at LA Trade Tech College, which is relatively new to the program. And this is where Robert resides. So, we're right on time, 9:30. So I will then have Karen will come and let you, know about a few updates and reminders.
So this is an edited slide deck that I did not create for the most part, so bear with me. I wanted to go, how many of you have used our website, the ABE-LA website? How many of you feel you're pretty familiar with it and you can find the resources you need? How many of you know what the T3 is? I gotta get you guys informed on that one. Anyway, so on our website, I don't know, do we have a pointer? I guess we don't.
We don't, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What's your USB?
We tried to get these ones to work, but I think they're not in sync.
Keyboard setup. It says it thinks it's a black keyboard. Oh.
Close that up?
Yeah.
Let's just see if it works.
Well, it'll at least work as a laser pointer, right?
Yeah, no, it works.
Okay, perfect. So this is our ABE-LA website, and you can read all this stuff here. This is where you would go, most of you are all going to distribution center sites, right? You find your distribution center, you'll have all those little folders down below, how to do all your online forms, which Luz is going to go through next. I just wanted to let you know that when you go to one of our distribution center sites, and you go down to like the Pierce College Teachers Resources, it'll bring you to this folder. There's also the General Teacher Resources folder. I don't know where Luz is, but I'm gonna get out of this so I can. Can you go to the website itself really quick or not? I just wanted to make sure that you guys know where all these resources are because we spent so much time and energy creating them for you. And we usually only are able to tell our teachers at training workshops about them. So sometimes our veteran teachers don't find this stuff. I'm going to ask you to put it back to slideshow if that's okay. Sure.
Karen, will you repeat out loud again that when you're on that, the link, where you go to get to the...
You would go up the toolbar at the top and you go to distribution centers. And then you pull down to the one you're at, and you happen to be at Channel Islands, which is probably the first one listed.
Right.
And then you go to that web page, and then you scroll down to the bottom. We're trying to get onto the web page here now, but you scroll down to the bottom. You guys have filled out the A, B, C, D forms, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
And then below that, there are even some more links listed that will take you to these resources. One of them being the Channel Island Teachers Resources folder. So our sites are all pretty similar, but a little unique. So that's why we have individual resources. For instance, Luz uses OWL boxes, and I don't. I use Enduro boxes. So she'll have specific information to her site, like where to park, where to drive and pick up things, how she does her ordering. Maybe she uses Sign Up Genius, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she has specific guides for her teachers that the rest of us don't use. There also will be the Teacher's Toolkit. Teacher's Troubleshooting Toolkit. Our program office is very fond of really long names. Anyway, we call it the T3, and that's what Karen did during shutdown. So it has all the troubleshooting you need to know about what goes wrong with your labs and whatnot. And I know most of you are used to just calling us on the bat phone and going, Karen, this isn't working, what happened? But if you have time in your busy schedules, I advise you to research or go through, review that T3 toolkit, because it has a real lot of good tips, what to do if something happens, all of that, okay? I think our pacing guides are in there. So, yeah, let's just go back to the PowerPoint, forget it.
Okay.
Yes,
I think Sam's got it.
On the T3 is password protected?
yes, and the password
That should-
is,
Thank you, Sam.
what's our password again, hang on. No, Merlot is for the teacher guide, and it's actually,
ABE
Sam wrote it, so you're good.
PR0.
All right.
I'm sorry, what?
The ABE PR0.
Yes,
It will come up in the PowerPoint.
Okay.
It's on there.
okay.
Yeah, so you can,
So now we're on the website?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go to Luz's website. So you'll go here, or one of the other ones, and you'll see lovely Luz here. A little introduction there. Okay, you press opposite line. And then here is online ordering instructions. This is a document that tells you exactly when and how to fill out all these forms for you. But in case you don't like to read, maybe you're like your students, there's a video that tells you how to do it down below, okay? This is the kit schedule. You look at the kit schedule, you do not edit the kit schedule, otherwise we know you would take someone out of the slot and put yourself in. We edit the schedule when you want to. Luz is going to go through all these forms with you, right? And
Yes.
when to fill them out. But down here is where I was talking about some other important things. So here is the kit binder for her kit. Her kit's different than mine, so my kit binder is unique to mine. Here's the general resources, and if you went here, that would go to that drive folder that I showed you on the slide. So all the teachers have access to everything in here. This has all of our resources, okay? And just go through, it's generally separated out by the lab series that you're using. Some curriculum resources here. This is Lab 1 and the extensions to Lab 1, the focus, the abridged, the complete, protein. This is where your lab photos, when you fill out Form D, get loaded too, so we can look at them. And a bunch of others. There's actually some PowerPoint slide decks that you can use. And then here are the Channel Islands teacher resources. And so these are the ones that are unique to that site, okay? Luz has these really fantastic visual guides that I'm stealing from her. So you can always look at the resources for another site. You might find some interesting resources that you can use. Like these I saw, I'm like, oh, this is generalized. This is not specific to the kit, so I asked permission before I stole. Okay? All of this, these are the lab protocol checklists. How many of you use the student guides or the student manuals anymore? Yeah. How many of you actually use the lab protocol checklists when you're actually doing the labs? Yeah, those are, I mean, it's great to have them read the student guide because that's where the information is, but we now have copies of these student protocol checklists in the kit binders in page protectors so the kids can just go and check this off. That way they don't have to have books all over the desk when they're doing labs. So these have actually turned out to be quite a popular resource.
there is a question, yes?
And also I have the kids use the digital version.
Yes.
Embedded in their labs.
Right, yeah. So you can get those digital versions out of our resources as well. And, you know, do whatever you want with them. But, yeah. Okay, where was I going? What else did we have here? That's the Teacher Troubleshooting Toolkit. This is what I think would be really good for you to use. And what was it? ABE, capital P, R0F.
We might already saved though.
It's saved for us, but it's not saved for them.
Yeah, I can put it on the board.
We'll put it on the board later, yeah, okay. But this is a really good resource for you. It has links so you can go down to what you want, but it'll go through all the different, yeah, all of this stuff is, you already know that. And it'll go through the different labs, key concepts for you, some videos, and it should start going into troubleshooting stuff for you. It will give you slide decks just for that specific lab, the safety protocols, things you should think about if you're a new teacher and you don't have the experience, how to do it. How should I pace this? How should I set up the equipment in the classroom? How do I break it down really fast between classes? It goes through all your prep work, setup and care, and it should get to troubleshooting for you as well. Interpreting results. So we have good results, we have bad results. Karen's taken all those photos, by the way, because queen of mistakes. But anyway, review this. You'll see, you'll learn a lot of stuff in there, okay? It's a really, really, really good resource to use. And I just didn't know if all of my veteran teachers knew about it. We also have a YouTube channel, the ABE-LA one. There's also an ABE program one. So go through and look for videos there. During the pandemic, we have a lot more videos on our channel. We have guest teacher lectures that are on there. I took those time-lapse videos without narration of just doing the labs, my hands doing the labs for students that you could show right before they do the lab. There's a lot of other really good resources we have on there. And then the PO one too. Go through there, you'll find like scientists, their guest lectures, really important stuff. Then we have a list of video resources by link, and I need to go through and make sure that that's correct. How do I get back to the PowerPoint?
I think, yeah, you can close some of these windows.
To exit out.
Just to displays anymore, you can just exit and bring up the slideshow.
Okay, so just exit.
Are you gonna need the website for anything? I'll just.
It's the part that I need is already on the slides, so it's 0.
I think this is where you left off.
3.
Perfect. Okay, so we kind of went over ours. Also, another really important one, and Shahira will talk about that, is we have a careers section here about education and career pathways. So she'll talk about that. That's really important. The workshops that are coming up, and we actually have started to schedule them for the rest of the year. We're going to have more per year than we typically had before. So keep that in mind. I went through this. So as one person said, this is sort of the Bible of doing the labs. You get an actual hard copy of this in your kit when you get it. There's also the digital copy online in case you're just a supplies-only teacher. Most of you do this. How many of you have just started doing our program? Anybody really new here?
Oh, 2.
When did you train?
Just 2?
I have been scared.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get you to do it, right? Yeah, I've been trying to get someone else at Oak Park. Yay! Thank you.
Oh, she's not, we do have somebody else from Oak Park this year, but she's already done the training, but
I'm at Granada Hillstar High School with Beth.
Beth Cox, yes, great, because I lost some teachers there that just stopped participating. Great.
Yeah,
What's your name?
Wendy Hagan.
Okay, we have a PDI coming up in October and December. I
Oh,
expect
good,
to see you there.
because I saw the September one, and
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do that
No,
one.
we have October and December.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
I'll be looking for you. So these are just tips. You all are probably used to familiarize yourselves with this, you know, how to prep for the labs. Yes?
Just to clarify, when you say you should aliquot as soon as you get it, do you then put it back in the freezer or?
Yeah,
keep it in
so
the fridge?
basically you'll get your plasmids, your little tubes of buffer, that can all be aliquoted and put back in the freezer. Things that you can't do that with are comp cells. Comp cells and lab 6 cells are our special little babies and need to be kept frozen until they're needed. But everything else can be aliquoted, put back in the freezer or fridge if it's a gel that you prep or something like that.
One thing I started doing a couple years ago is I pre-label all the tubes and they're sitting in boxes. I have a TA, a couple TAs pre-label every tube I'm gonna need. And so it's one less overwhelming thing because then I already have them and here's day 1 lab and aliquot, it's good to go.
And to add on to that, if Winnie was my teacher and she was going to do the labs in a month, if she wanted to get a bag of tubes ahead of time, I'd give it to her. And then she could pre-label them, start pre-labeling well in advance of getting them. So ask your site coordinators for your tubes ahead of time so you can start labeling them because you have to handwrite little tiny letters on every single one, right?
Dots work.
Oh, dots, yes.
I can share anything.
Oh, so like a green dot would be like restriction and
In my
okay.
presentations, which I don't know if they're all in there or not, but my presentations, I have pictures of the prep, and I have colored dots on top, and because I don't write out the full name, I'll go and see, I have.
Yes, you're on YouTube. We have her guest speakership from the Huntington last year on our YouTube channel, so she's a really good resource. I told you we have a lot of guest teacher lectures on there, and that's veteran teachers, so you really want to go and look at those. Do we want to play this video?
Sure, we have a minute. We'll play that.
I'm going to make it play.
Oops, it's like, what, 3 minutes?
Do they want every male and child?
This is Marty. You all remember Marty, right? This is the, I still get tears in my eyes on this one.
But it's not playing.
In 19,
That's the thing, I don't know why it doesn't do that. It's playing here, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
this is the latest tool.
Well, they'll have to read it. It's not even, this is a different video, actually. This is a different video.
No, it's this
Is this
one.
one?
Yeah, I played it. Okay, it's the one
I
that was
can't,
there.
we don't have it hooked up to speakers. How many of you have watched this video before? Yeah, this is really cute because it starts out with Hugh Nelson, who was one of the first teachers that was trained. But we don't have it hooked up to speakers, so you can't hear it.
Oh, then, okay, then we won't do that. Okay, but the slides are in the folder.
Yeah, you
We
can
don't have the
watch.
speaker. Okay, so we don't have a speaker, so we will skip that step of playing the 3-minute video, but it's in the slideshow, and the PowerPoint slides are in the teacher folder. So it's under workshops and events, and when you click there, you will find the folder for the annual teacher meeting 2023-24. All right.
Anyway, this is I was going to the first break, right? Okay. This is just a slide that shows you our impact. It's actually a little out of date. We are well over 900,000 now. 25 global locations. Amgen's really committed to improving diversity and equity. Our 2 newest sites are in Mexico City and South Africa. Some of those schools don't even have electricity. We've even found a gel box that works with batteries. And we're finding ways to get calm cells to them without refrigerators and freezers. And we're starting a new site in Brazil. So, and as Shahira mentioned, we are really trying to increase our numbers down in the areas in South LA. And you know how important you are, right? That's why Karen brought all this stuff back here for you, okay? And it is all going today because she is not taking that back to her garage. All of it is going. Do you hear me? Right. Okay, so what do we do to help you? We have PDIs, we train teachers, we'll have guest lecturers, we have teacher appreciation events, we have curriculum. If you go to the National ABE website, you will find a lot of new labs that maybe they're not wet labs, but a lot of, other labs, I call them dry labs. They also put a tremendous amount of money into Lab Exchange, and Lab Exchange is not just for ABE curriculum. If you notice, you guys have probably gone through and you've seen there's a lot of resources on Lab Exchange for other topics that you can use in your classes. We have a volunteer program, and I think Shahira will speak to this later, where we can get a scientist to give a guest lecture to your students. We'll have panels. We also have an Amgen Master Teacher Fellowship. This is another really good thing to look at with the AmgenBiotechExperience.com website. I call that the international website. So we're selecting master teachers, master and veteran teachers, and we're giving them stipends to develop a project. And those projects are now up online for you guys to use, so you can do them in your classroom. So check those out. Wendy Wooten did one of them.
And we have Anthony here.
Anthony, there he is.
Was
yes.
our guest speaker. At
He did last year's, yeah.
He did last year, yes. So, yeah. And I will be sending an email out to everyone because I got a request from program office. I didn't get a chance to share with the team for the Master Teacher Fellowship Program.
Yeah, I think we sort of select, though. We don't ask everyone.
So,
anyway, yeah, so they select a certain number of teachers from different sites around the world. We're always one of the sites that they select from. And they get a stipend and they work for a year to develop a project. They meet like monthly. And so I think this program office even flies them back east and they present.
And sometimes, yes.
Can you have Anthony tell us a little bit about this project?
I was just going to say.
Shoot, Anthony, real
So,
quick.
last year I was encouraged to apply. There's an application process that you go through, and basically, it's basically like a resume, and then they select you and so forth if you're approved. And then what you do is you meet once a month. We met through Zoom. I met with 9 other teachers from around the world, from across the country, Australia, and even Turkey and Netherlands. And we would talk science, pedagogy, and inquiry, and then discuss potential projects. So the end result is you're encouraged to design a project that you can use in your classroom, and eventually this project will be posted on the ABE Master Teacher Fellowship. And then from that, you're also encouraged to further your project by, they can give you an extension and you can apply for a grant. So it was a really wonderful experience because you got to meet other teachers and you bounce ideas around, and it's, and it's good to see that all the problems we encounter in the classroom are worldwide, no matter where you're from, and it's very encouraging. So I encourage, all of you to consider it sometime in the near future.
Yeah. If you could give us a 2-sentence synopsis of what your project's about.
Well, what I chose is the Transformation Lab was my favorite. Was one of my favorite labs, and my students always wondered why is it that the E. coli transformed bacteria express the protein, the RFP, the P protein, the red protein, and it's because of the arabinose embedded in the agar. And so we thought, well, if you put something else that would compete with that, or maybe shut down. So I was interested in regulating the gene expression of that protein. So we added different sugars like sucrose and glucose and lactose and so forth, and see how that affected. And we found that glucose does kind of reduce that expression. So
definitely, it's preferred food source, yeah.
So I submitted the project. We'll see how that, I guess they'll post it sometime in the fall.
But one interesting thing is if someone wanted to do that extension lab, we can support you with the supplies for that.
Right. So it's very simple because all you do is make more agar plates with those additional sugars and then just grow the transformed bacteria and see what happens. So it's an extension.
Yeah, so that would be great for as an extension for project-based learning, So, so Anthony gave a presentation in July at our full series, the 4-day workshop, and that presentation is recorded on our YouTube channel, and we will actually share with you the blog post that we created on that workshop. So if you have time this summer and you haven't attended a full series, we will be holding a similar workshop this summer. And so you can watch his entire presentation. We have a link to it.
Other ones were teachers that changed, they used variable times for the heat shock. That's more plates. We can provide you with that, more plates and more cells. So that's a simple one to do with your students. Anyway, so check those out, please. The teacher roundtables, I believe they're quarterly. So the program office sends you all an email reminder that there's going to be a teacher roundtable, and they actually get the topics that they're going to discuss from you teachers. So they're evidently very pertinent to you. So you should listen to those. You can always listen to them recorded. They're always on the website, and you can listen to them if you don't have time to be there in person. And this was 2 of our other LA teachers that did Master Teacher Fellowships. Erlette was our very first one, and then Wendy was, I think, the year before you. And then here is some more information on the roundtables. So if you are interested in certain topics that you want covered and you don't feel like contacting the program office directly, just email your site coordinator and we will send that information on up the pipeline to them, all right? So we do constantly listen to your input and edit our program, and better our program with your input. There's a lot of actual working groups that are working on specific topics. We actually do have an equity, access, and engagement working group that works on getting sites started up, works on making sure that we have kits and stuff available for different schools. There's the lab exchange team that they're constantly adding to that and updating that. If you find a mistake, how many of you have found a mistake in one of the ABE labs on lab exchange? Has anybody here done that? The one I keep trying to get them to fix? No. There's one in the restriction enzyme. We also review the curriculum constantly upgrading that, even though we don't print, we may not print the hard copies that often. And then there's the teacher toolkits. This is part of the implementation team, so we actually will edit the teacher toolkit, we'll edit the staff toolkits. So we have a bunch of staff toolkits that we have to make it easier for different people to implement this program around the world. And there's some of our wonderful teachers. So we're going to go on break, but I just wanted to mention that Patrick has an announcement. Patrick Kelly from Simi Valley.
Yeah, just if anybody's got a CTE credential and
Or knows
they
anyone?
want to go somewhere else, our program's blown up. We have more classes than I can possibly teach. Right now we have about 250-ish in our biotech pathway, and we're blowing up to about 300 next year. We're a medical academy, so our medical side has 260 students.
Oh, wow.
We have a 4-year program. But we're starting the process of looking for a CTE teacher, so you have to have your CTE
Does that have to be
credential.
full-time?
It's going to be full-time.
Because Wendy Wooten just retired.
And then anybody who could do chemistry as well would be a bonus, because that's our concentrator. And right now, I'm the only one who can do the chemistry, the biotech, and the bioethics.
Okay. But those run during the school day, right? It's not,
Yes, it's all
Yes,
during
it's
the
all-
school day.
yeah.
And I'm well funded.
Yes, he is. He is very well funded. He has a lot of toys.
Yes.
Anybody have any
So,
questions?
All right, so maybe we'll take our break now and then
Yeah.
I'll...
Eat a lot of food.
Yeah, we'll just give you, we
Peruse
changed
the
things a little
donations,
bit
but
from
don't
the
take them
agenda,
yet.
so...
Yeah. And if you need a key to the bathroom, we're trying to leave the bathroom bolt across when you come out so it stays ajar. If you need a key, Luz has the key.
Yeah. Yeah, so just take like a 10, 15-minute break and then we will go to my presentation and then give you a few more updates and then get to the donation part.
Oh,
That was my
yes.
question. Here, so after the break.
Saturday the 23rd at Fullerton College, we have a high school PDI for the abridged series at LA Trade Tech on October 14 and 15. And then we have a high school PDI planned here at Pierce College on December 2nd and 3rd. Those dates were just confirmed yesterday, and so we will be sending a flyer out to everybody, not just this group, with these dates. Okay, and then we will also put on it the summer PDI. We have tentative dates for that. And at the end of my presentation, I will show you the folder that we created with resources for that PDI, because there you might find a lot of very helpful resources in it, until throughout this year, until you attend one of those workshops, if you are going to this year. All right, so I will get started. So I just will do a quick icebreaker with you, and then I will give you an overview of the current landscape of biotech here in SoCal, because it has changed drastically. I will tell you a little bit about the biotech domains, just a quick refresher, and the scientific and the non-scientific careers. And then I will tell you also about the job area, a platform that allows you and your students to look into the job areas, the companies, and so on. And then I will also tell you about the biotech education pathways that are new and non-traditional and that are sprouting left and right, literally, in Southern California. So, because I think it's very important for us to be aware of what's going on, right? Okay, so we will start with an icebreaker. Because of the setup of the room, it might be easier to do it while you're sitting. I don't know, it's up to you. So we were expecting more people, so I put a group of 4, but we can do it in a group of 2, right? It's up to you. Might be easier if you just pair up, or for you maybe the group of 3. So whatever is convenient. And I just want you to take 1 minute each in your group to introduce yourself very briefly, your name, your school, your grade. And then just share with the members of your group who inspired you to become a science or biology teacher, and why or how this person inspired you. Okay? All right, so we'll just wrap up, because we didn't want to delay today since it's a Saturday. I'm sorry to interrupt. So I guess this seems to be have been a very engaging icebreaker. I don't know, everybody was talking, so it's good to see that. All right, so I wasn't sure, how many of you know each other or how well you know each other and all that, so we decided to put that in just to give you a chance to get to know new people, right? Any questions? Any comments about the icebreaker?
We just have a great group of teachers, that's all I
Good. Good. All right, so I wanted just to share with you a few updates and also resources or guide you through where they are. Where is my, here, so this, oh, no, what did I do? Oh, sorry, I won't do anything. Okay, so one of the very important things to be aware of is that this Biden administration executive order, you can click on it to to learn more, because that has truly significantly affected grant funding and the programs that are sprouting left and right especially in Southern California. You can read here the main components of the executive order that directly relate to us as educators. I left out a lot of other, of course there are many other components to the executive order, but they don't directly relate to us. And so, one thing that stands out is training a diverse workforce, right? So we're not only focused on students with graduate and postgraduate degrees, but students with all sorts of different backgrounds, and then expanding the training and education opportunities. And then last, the one very important component you're all aware of, which is advancing equity. And supporting talent development in all communities. Yes?
Are you sharing this presentation so we can?
Yes, the presentation is already shared in the folder that is under annual teacher meeting for 23 to 24. So it's in the same folder that the other presentation was in. Okay, and on Google Drive when you go to the teacher resources folder. If you go there and you go under workshops and events, you will see the annual teacher meeting.
It's not showing up yet.
We're going to put it there. I
Yeah.
think that it's actually in our side of the drive folder, so we have to put it in their side. Yeah.
Okay,
It's in a
but that's-
non-public folder. We will
Yeah.
put it there after this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, together with the other one. The other PowerPoint was in the same folder, so we'll do that. All right, thank you. So now if you look at numbers, again, I'm not going to read at you, this is just for an FYI, but the point I'm trying to drive home is that LA has almost doubled the number of companies as San Diego today, So this has, this is a major change. And it's not far from the numbers in the Bay Area. It used to be, up until recently, just a few years ago, that the Bay Area was the largest biotech hub in the country, followed by Boston in Massachusetts, and then followed by, San Diego and so on. But now, we have doubled the number of companies as in San Diego, so that's a major change. So what we're trying to do is raise awareness among all stakeholders, and there are so many different entities out there that are doing that. And so one of the main things that I'm very focused on is the multidisciplinary and multidimensional career opportunities in biotech, and to move away completely from that notion that in order to be in biotech you have to be Einstein and have a PhD degree and have an IQ that I don't know what, that is not, this is only one group or one sector in the business where you require that. But there are so many different sectors in the biotech industry that require skilled workers who have other, degrees and other preparation. So I have these pathways listed here. So, sorry, what's your name again?
Patrick.
Sorry?
Patrick.
Patrick. So Patrick told you a little bit about the career education pathway in his school system. I don't know if you all heard, you probably didn't all hear the conversation we had later on. So Patrick was sharing that you need to be credentialed as a teacher to teach in career technical education. There is also work-based learning, dual enrollment, and stackable credentials. Fullerton College has a great program that combines all this. So is everybody familiar with dual enrollment and stackable credentials? Yes? No? Okay. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about that. So the dual enrollment is when students can, after school or on the weekend, but usually it's after school, after the bell rings, enroll in community college courses. Right? Sign up for these community college courses and then get credit for them while they are still in high school. The stackable credential is when they go to these community college programs, they can stack the credentials. So they can get, let's say, an associate degree or an AA degree as a tissue culture technician, you know, and stack that up with a lab technician in general or with biomanufacturing, right? So if you go to the Fullerton College website, for example, you will see how that's possible. They tell you the number of units, how long you're going to be in each one of these pathways, and which ones you can stack, right? So this is now the new approach to make sure that we are graduating students who are really prepared for the workforce. So as I mentioned, I worked in a workforce development program. And so the focus was not just on the technical skills and the lab skills and the academic background, but also on employability and providing students with the potential for growth, right? Because we don't want to graduate students who are going to get stuck in a job. You know, none of us wants this, right? So you don't want to graduate students like we used to do before, who are going to be stuck washing glassware, right? So we want to give them the skills that then will give them the potential to grow and advance in their career. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about the skills. Sometimes I'm ahead of myself. So I'll show you, you know, what I mean with employability skills later, but I just wanted to give you an overview. And then with the equity and inclusion, you know, components that applies across the board, we want to, you know, overcome these historical patterns of exclusion, especially in STEM. You know, where certain minorities and certain groups of people who are not even minority were underrepresented in STEM, like women, you know. So women across the board, it doesn't matter, black, brown, you know. So some numbers here. Statewide, we have, in California, we have 20% of community college students attending CTE programs who have BA or BS degrees. And then we have a community of practice. By the way, Wendy from Pasadena, because this is one of our distribution centers, is very involved in that. And they are very focused on bringing together educators from high school and community college to focus on curriculum development and professional development and sharing best practices, right? So that's why we have a community of practice. And here you can read a little bit more. That's the bioscience training project that I just mentioned in collaboration with the Pasadena Bioscience Collaborative, where Samantha is. And their goal is to increase the availability of graduates, you know, trained biological and chemical process technicians. They want to also close the gap in the hiring trends. And they have these approved curricula to provide the skilled workforce. So, because, you know, you have to be able to get your degree, your curriculum approved to be able to offer the degree, right? So, yes?
And you might want to mention Moorpark College.
Hey, no, Pierce College.
But they expanded their 2-year to a 4-year degree.
Yes.
So they have a 2-year.
I have a list of all those. Yeah. Thank you for saying. Yeah. So I have a list. Again, you know, sometimes I'm ahead of myself, but at the end I have a list of resources. So you are going to get all these colleges listed in alphabetic order. So Moore Park did that, LA Mission College and Santa Monica College. They're all community colleges that are now have approved curricula to offer 4-year BS degrees. Okay, but again, these are all degrees that are focused on graduating students who are employable, who can be part of a trained workforce. So. All right. So then if, I thought, because I'm always thinking of teaching, right? So I thought if you want to raise awareness among your students, right, about biotechnology as a career option, right, you're going to run into the problem that the student doesn't even know what biotechnology is, right, unless you're already teaching. I'm talking about, if you are in an introductory situation, right? And so I included some slides here that you could use to introduce biotechnology in a situation where you either don't have time to do the labs, or you don't have access to the labs, or it doesn't fit yet in your schedule. So that would give you a little bit of leverage, so you can introduce what biotechnology is, and then expose the students a little bit to the career opportunities in a situation where you can't do the labs right now. Right at that moment. And so I included a little bit, a short definition, a little bit of history, the different domains of biotechnology, slides like that are very simple, that you could tweak and use with your students just to give them an introduction. So there are, as you know, issues with biotech when you try to introduce it. Because if you tell students, about the medical field, right, everybody knows what that is, right? Any student sitting in your class, when you talk to them about the medical field, they'll tell you, what are they going to tell you? But if you ask them about careers in the medical field, doctors or nurse, right? Some of them may know about other more specific, but mainly doctor or nurse, right? But when you tell a student there is a biotech industry out there and there are careers in it, what's the student going to say? Maybe some of them will tell you a scientist, a research scientist, right? But that's about, I think, the maximum you're going to get, right? You're not going to get any more than that. And then if you ask them what does the biotech industry do, because we live in a post-pandemic era, all of them will know, because all of them will tell you something about the COVID vaccines or COVID treatment, right? I don't know if you noticed, I was always amazed during the pandemic at friends I have personally who all of a sudden talk to you about RNA vaccines. I'm like, and what RNA is, or where did that come from? These are people without any scientific background, but it became a mainstream thing, right? So you might get a little bit of that, but you're not going to probably get a lot of students who know that there are other domains to biotechnology, right? So there is the agricultural domain that includes animal and plant biotechnology, by the way, and that is very big. I feel very strongly about that topic because of this discussion about genetically modified plants. I don't think we should be having any discussion about whether or not to have genetically modified crop, because there is no way we cannot have it. The rest of the world is relying heavily on genetically modified crop. I think the discussion should be more about safety, right? But anyhow, I don't want to go into that. But these are things that run the economies of the countries of the world, right? Literally. And then there is environmental biotechnology like bioremediation. There is industrial biotechnology, which encompasses so many industries, from the blue jeans that the students wear, to the paper products that we have, to enzymes that are used in different other industries, like clean fuels. So it's a very wide or broad industry. And then there is forensic biotechnology, which is all the DNA fingerprinting and testing. That has revolutionized society, by the way. There are a lot of activities on that on Lab Exchange. And then, of course, there is the pandemic, and that would be medical biotechnology. And you can see, the three sectors of medical biotechnology, the testing, which was the COVID testing, the treatments, we don't have that many, but a few, and then the vaccines for prevention. So that would show you the different aspects of medical biotechnology during the pandemic. This is another slide you could use if you want. It's not my favorite, but it lists the domains of biotechnology in a different way. There are many different ways you can, show that. This one has maybe more wording or description. But the two slides I showed you, I didn't make them, but they're missing two things, two sectors, the digital health and biomedical devices. Okay? So I haven't been able to find one that has all these. If you find one, let me know. So this digital health became moved much more to the forefront during the pandemic. Why? Anybody knows? Because?
Couldn't travel to the doctor, so.
Couldn't travel, yeah. So it's because of all these new apps and technologies we have for what do you call that?
Telemedicine.
Telemedicine, thank you. There you go. And then, of course, there are all the wearable devices, right? And then there is the entire biomedical device industry, and we have, there is a link here that you can go to that will show you the companies across the world and in California. The reason why I'm focusing on this is because it's a very fast-growing domain in biotechnology, and it's very, where there is a lot of demand for a skilled workforce, and the beauty of it is that the skilled workforce they're looking for is required to have many diverse backgrounds, right? So it's not just biology, but it's biology, chemistry, nanotechnology, physics, optics, photonics. You can, read the slide. So this really shows you the nature of biotech careers in terms of being multidisciplinary, right? Many different disciplines, but also multi-dimensional, because you can enter the workforce at many levels or enter at a lower level and then work yourself up, right? So this is definitely an industry that, discipline in the industry that, you should raise awareness for. What goes under biomedical device? All these things that you can see here, And so, for example, is there a pointer here?
In the middle, the big button in the middle.
This? Oh, okay. Maybe I pressed something else. I was scared to press it again, sorry. So, okay. So one, for example, I'm going to focus here, right? So stem cells and tissue engineering and tissue cultures and all that. That is, for example, a career opportunity here that's great for students, where we have several community colleges offering either degrees or stackable credentials, right? One of them would be Pasadena City College. They have a very, an award-winning, basically, program in tissue culture. And so there are all these different niches where students can find their passion and get very well trained and be really employable, right? As opposed to somebody who graduates with a bachelor degree in biology, right? That person is never going to get employed in the biotech industry, right? Because they're not skilled, they're not considered a skilled workforce, right? So, I forgot to mention something important. I'm sorry. My personal experience at the Biotech Academy. So I had a lot of students who were adult students. Our age group and sometimes older than me, who were professionals already, and they were career transitioners. So there are a lot of people out there that want to transition into the biotech industry, and they enroll in these programs. But I also had a lot of students that were had freshly graduated. They had just graduated from 4-year bachelor degrees in biology and biotechnology and microbiology, and they were not employable at all. They don't have any employability skills. So when they go to interview, for biotech jobs, they can say, I have a bachelor degree, but, they can't demonstrate that they have employability skills. And so they sign up for, I met them at the Biotech Academy, I can imagine that many of them go into these education pathways that I mentioned, you know, to get employed. So it's, you know, it's a different world that we live in today, right? This goes with the biomedical device industry, just to show you the intersection of many different, you know, disciplines. Yes.
Can you use the side buttons to go back and forth?
Yeah, thank you. Then if you want, you know, to do a quick introduction to this whole topic, I included some of the slides that I use here to introduce the topic. You know, I'm not going to lecture at you, don't worry. But for example, what you could do is you could go back in history and tell them historically the first biotech product was insulin, right? You can also tie that into our abridged series and our you know, complete series, because then you could say, for example, we're going to do labs later on in the semester, you know, to simulate this, but instead of insulin, we'll be making red fluorescent protein, you know. Anyhow, but you can use these slides to introduce the concept of biotechnology and what it is based on, which is DNA technologies and genetic engineering. And so, you know, I have a short video here about genetic engineering that essentially describes the steps here, right? Which is great because those are exactly the steps of our labs, right? That's exactly what you're going to be doing in your labs, except that we don't use insulin, right? And we even do the purification step if you actually do the column chromatography lab, right? Which is our last lab in the series. So that would be a way of introducing things, you know. You could introduce them in an exciting manner by relating them to COVID directly, you know, and explain to them, for example, what the COVID vaccines are. Even if they are RNA vaccines, it's still based on genetic engineering, right? Because the RNA that you introduce into the cells has the gene that codes for the spike protein of the virus that then stimulates your immune system to make antibodies, right? So, so there are, you know, those are just different ways of, you know, introducing the topic and the industry as a whole. Okay. Any questions so far? Right. So when we get to the career component, you know, I just gave again an overview for your convenience to allow you to give an introduction. So you can focus on the fact that the biotech industry has scientific and non-scientific careers, right? So obviously the scientific careers will include all these science discipline that your students by high school would be familiar with, so you wouldn't have to explain much. For the scientific careers, you know, these are some of the requirements, some of the things that are used, and of course IT and artificial intelligence play a major role now, right? So those need to be mentioned. But we also have non-scientific careers, right? And that's something that you should definitely raise awareness for, because these are jobs that are in demand and that pay very well, right? And that also where students can have a promotion potential, right? The ability to grow and develop. And a lot of these careers, they want you to have a biology or a science degree and then the degree for the non-scientific component, right? So for example, a patent lawyer who has biology background, right, will be much more employable than a patent lawyer who just has a law degree, right? The same thing with HR, regulatory affairs, or, you know, even sales, right? Even if you look even at the job descriptions for sales people by biotech companies, they're going to tell you the job description, right? Preferred or required biology background or biology degree, right? So, so it's important to raise awareness for, you know, these aspects. And then how can students improve their employability? Again, as I mentioned, enrolling after high school, of course, I'm talking after high school, right? Enrolling in a biotech education pathway. And then, of course, the counseling, getting career counseling, If they can get an internship or job shadowing, of course, that's a big bonus. So we'll show you a lot of resources for paid internships. Networking is very big, so creating their LinkedIn profile is very important. Remaining a curious lifelong learner, and then developing personally and professionally. And then the soft skills are very important. So the soft skills have been important for a while, but I think the pandemic really put the spotlight on soft skills, right? And so these are kind of the basic soft skills that we're all familiar with, right? I'm not gonna read that to you. So those I think everybody's aware of, and then we also try to help the students develop some of these soft skills in our own classroom, right? Like creative thinking and writing and so on, and critical thinking and problem solving and all that. But then there are other soft skills that were really put or highlighted by the pandemic that we may not be so aware of, or they may not be at the forefront of our thinking, which is the knowledge of artificial intelligence and how to use it. Okay, for example, I still don't know, I have to learn. So adaptive thinking and mainly thinking outside the box to problem solve, and then adaptability, because as you know, the IT is always changing, right? The computer technology is always changing, and we need to adapt. And then having the service-oriented or customer service mentality. But one very important soft skill is the emotional intelligence, right? So and you probably all work in school districts that somehow are involved in the social emotional learning, right? How many of us are in school districts that have SEL funding? There we go, SEL funding. Yeah, social emotional learning. So, that's very important. I included a quiz that you and your students can take. I actually took that quiz. So soft skills are considered a power skill when students get hired. Those biotech education programs I mentioned focus on these things. So they help the students develop these soft skills and, master them. And so, how can you prepare for a life science or a biotech career? So there is, of course, the formal education, the degree you're going to show or the stackable credentials, and then the technical skills and experience, and then the soft skills, right? And so here are the, options that we mentioned, the 4-year, the 2-year, and the 1-year certificate programs, and then the workforce development and boot camps. So for example, East LA College started a boot camp in biotechnology in summer to prepare students for their new biotech degree, So a lot of these colleges are preparing the students in advance. So there are these boot camps, and then there are, other ways that they try to prepare them. Okay, so if you would like to do a biotech career exploration activity with the students, where you let the student explore the students explore on their own, right? There is this great platform that you can visit that has a ton of information on each one of these hyperlinked words, right? So you can see, how powerful this platform is. And you can then show them an interactive map. They have two views. They can use the interactive map or a table to do searches by state, and then they can find out what the biotech companies are in a certain geographic area, but they can also search by business area, So let's say somebody doesn't necessarily wants to go to college but doesn't want to stay in Los Angeles or doesn't need to stay in California, right? They can search by business area and find out what's going on outside of California. So it's a very powerful tool. And because this is like not a actual workshop. I'm not going to do these things with you. In the workshop in summer, we had this, we did that together as an activity. But I just want to give this to you as resource. Innovate Bio is the platform that is housing all this. And so it has, a ton of funding. And they just got a lot of grants approved very recently. They shared with me a long list of, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 grants that were approved to support Innovate Bio and other biotech initiatives. And so Innovate Bio has all these things that are listed here, which then allow the students to do this career exploration activity that I just showed you. And then it features, that's the part that I love about it. It features all these types of education pathways, whether it's a 1-year certificate or an AS degree or a BS degree or stackable credentials or postgraduate. They also feature all the colleges that offer master's and PhD degrees. So it's a very powerful tool for students to use if they are going to be exploring biotech careers and education pathways. And everything is in alphabetic order, by the way. So if they go here, they can search by alphabetic order, and I believe they can also search by region or state. You will see when you get into it. I created a separate slide for biotech education pathways in LA County. It may include some neighboring counties because we use the LA County term sometimes a little loosely. So because it's a big area. And so on the bottom of the slide you can see the colleges that applied for BS degrees in January and are now offering these courses as part of a BS degree. So MITSI would be from LA Mission College, Pasadena City College, and also Santa Monica College. I don't know why they're still up there. We should have moved them down here. Okay, maybe because they just started. But they are also offering a BS degree. They're offering their first biotech course, I think, this fall. So if you go to our website, okay, will I be able to do that quickly, Luz? If I clicked, will it take me, or is it going to be a hassle?
You have to exit out of the...
Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll just leave it. Thank you. Sorry, Luz. sorry. I apologize. Maybe I'll just leave it because you know how to do this, all of you. So this link is going to take you to the website that Karen showed you, right? Our website, ABE-LA, the one that you're all very familiar with. And once you're in it, if you go to careers, in the menu on top, right, to careers, you're going to find a wealth of resources on one page, okay? And the resources cover all these topics. Okay, so what I did is I just copied, the titles of the resources that are listed under careers. Okay? Is everybody okay with that? Okay. So, yeah. And the grant writing resources were put together by Professor Wu mainly, as far as I know. And they were in response to requests that we were getting from teachers, for other topics to cover. And so you will, if you're interested in that, you'll find a wealth of resources on that. And so, that just a quick intro to this whole topic. I'll try to hold the workshop this fall, maybe like a half-day or one-day workshop where we can combine, we can spend more time on this and combine it with, a dry lab. So we'll keep you posted. We're trying to see if we can cover additional topics. Any questions for me on that? No? Okay. So, yeah, and so of course you can also do these things in combination with, so for example, I can show you this activity here. you will find, I posted on the, in the folder from the summer PDI, I actually posted lesson plan, activities that are part of a lesson plan on biotech career exploration that you can use as is or modify with the students. And so you could do that to complement the labs, right? Because, I mean, we always want to stay very focused on teaching within a meaningful context, right? That's, I always remind myself, always teach in a meaningful context, right? So if you're telling them about pipetting and labs and all that, well, what's the point, right? Why should the student know all this? Why should they develop these skills? What is it they can do with it, right? So that's always good to keep in mind. So, all right, so if there are no questions, okay, so I will exit here, and then we will have Luz come and tell you a little bit about the online ordering. We need to go to the other slide.
Okay, so I'll briefly review online ordering policies and procedures. I want to be mindful of your time. I know it's almost 11, and most of you are veteran teachers, so this will be very familiar, but it's always nice to get a refresher. When you go to your distribution center's webpage, everything that you need will be there. So all of the forms that you'll be submitting to us, it won't look like this anymore because the website's been redesigned, but you will see the buttons for Form A, B, and C. Always put in your kit reservation as soon as possible. We usually publish the calendars all the way back in May, and so they're available. But we send reminders periodically so that you're aware that we have space on the calendar, and then you're able to book your kits. We reserve the spaces first come, first serve, so if you get it in there quickly, then you have your preferred dates. For the most part, sites vary. Form B is going to be your supply order form. If I can ask you one thing, is to make sure you submit your supply order form at least 4 weeks before your scheduled pickup date, because that helps all of us make sure that we have all of your reagents ready to go. It gives us enough time, basically, because we're serving multiple teachers often for one pickup date. Form C is going to be your policy and procedure form. So you'll be prompted when you fill out Form B to submit a digital version, so that eliminates paper. We prefer that. But if you forget, our sites, sometimes, we usually do have paper copies, so you can fill it out then. But we do need that every year that you participate from you. Form D, we have your lab result survey, so we do want that back in. We want to see how the labs are working for you. If we have any issues with the labs, we want to make sure that we catch that for next year. And so we're definitely relying on your feedback to find things, to tell us, hey, this didn't work for me, or I would prefer this next time, or this would make my life easier, or I have these issues. So we are looking at those Form D results. In fact, I think we had a raffle this year for whoever responded to Form Ds, and so we had some raffle winners. And then Form E is your student survey. We also really want to push to get these forms back. We have generally had a bad time getting these back, so if you want to be an awesome ABE teacher and be on our favorites list, get all these forms back to us. I know it's a lot of forms, I know. Free program, but we do charge you in forms.
The data that we get for Form D and E actually help us improve the program and go after additional funding to make it better.
Okay.
And there's raffles at the end, so your students do it and you do it.
Okay. So this is what the forms look like once you pop them open. You have your reservation form. So again, you look at the calendar, you find those dates that you want, and you submit your reservation. This can happen at any point really once the calendar is live. This is the one that's most time sensitive in my opinion. I do want this back in 4 weeks before you pick up so that we have enough time to create your materials. It's those plates. Plates take forever. They're so time consuming. And then Form D, your lab results survey, and then Form E, your student survey. So they're all color coded. If you forget which one you already submitted, go by color. Let's see. Yep. Form A, go to your calendar to see what's available. And we'll have an example of what I think Sam's looks like. So yeah, time slots for borrowing a full kit will be 3 weeks long. Technically, per ABE policy, every school is allowed to borrow a kit for 1 3-week time slot, and teachers should perform all of the ABE labs under that 3-week time slot, so you're responsible for coordinating that with all of the teachers in your school. If you are a materials-only teacher, that's different. You actually can book at any point in the calendar, and you're not bound by that restriction because you're not borrowing all of our kits, or you're not borrowing a bunch of materials. So you're just getting reagents. You have more freedom with that, and you can also book multiple times a year if you're reagents only. So it's a really good thing to be. If you also, at least for my distribution center, I can't speak for others, if you are getting close to reagents only, or having almost all of your materials for the ABE labs, and you're missing a few items, let me know, because sometimes I will go with Karen to the ABE warehouse and we can look out for items that you want and get them to you. So let us know. So this is what a calendar looks like. This is what you would be looking at if you want to reserve a kit. You'd say, okay, I want either a full kit, or I'm just planning to do lab 1 with my students, so I'll get this kit. And then keep those dates in mind for when you submit your forms. If anything's confusing, let me know, but again, this is fully review. Types of kits will be explained. First come, first serve basis, so if you get that in early, you get a better chance of getting your ideal dates. This is, I just said this, full kit request. One teacher fills out the form, and then every other teacher who plans to use that full kit from that school will submit a supply order form. So again, I only need one Form A reservation for a school, but I do need every single teacher who plans to use that kit to submit a Form B. Materials only teacher, you have that freedom to submit whenever. So this is what the supply order form looks like when it comes to me. When you do submit it, I will download a PDF version and send it back to you and confirm, hey, it looks like you ordered Intro to Biotech for 70 students, and then you ask for these extra materials. Is that right? And if you tell me, oh no, I don't know what I was doing, I totally changed that, then you can let me know and I'll modify it for you. You do not have to submit another Form B. Don't worry about that. I will change it, print out the PDF or download the PDF and send it again until we can confirm that what you're ordering is correct and that I have your order right. So you'll get that as soon as I get your Form Bs. And as a reminder, since you're getting this back, this reminds you where to store everything. So everything is color-coded. Things that go in the freezer will be a certain color. Things that go in the fridge will be a certain color. And then always remember that comm cells can't be aliquoted ahead of time. You only aliquot those comm cells 15 minutes before. So don't do that when you first get the kit. Let's see, anything I didn't talk about? Okay, yeah, Karen likes this one. Always put in a number for students because sometimes we get a ton of words and that will mess up our Excel system. So just put in numbers when you're putting in student numbers. That helps us. Don't pad the numbers. Our formulas in the Excel spreadsheet already account for extras. So anytime you get any materials, reagents in your tube, we've already accounted for extras. So you shouldn't run out.
How much extra is there? Did you do like 10% or something like that? I mean, or
exactly, I don't know. Do you know?
I think it's usually about 15%, and then if you've got lots of student groups, I add even more because I understand you're going to have pipetting error. I'm a little stingier on more expensive reagents, generous on cheaper things, but yeah.
Thanks.
If you've not had enough in the past, communicate with your site coordinator, talk to them about that.
Make sure you're looking at the right form on how much to allocate. I screwed up that way.
Oh, okay.
We do give you an aliquoting guide.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, try unpipetting out of all of your little tubes so you can redistribute. It's super fun. I recommend you look at the aliquoting guide. There might be a new one.
Yes, and we'll make sure to send you the most current version too, so that you are all set for your reagents. Let's see, something about Form C. Policy forms. I think the only difference between last year's policy form and this year's that you'll see online is that we have put the waste disposal policy on there as well, so it's a quick look through the waste disposal policy. Maybe we've gotten too many pizza boxes back in those autoclave bags. Don't put pizza boxes in there, please, or anything flammable, ideally.
Form C, you download, you sign it, and then Form B requires that you upload that copy.
So you can browse through that waste disposal policy. For scheduling, every site works a little differently. So my site and a couple of others, I schedule everything through email currently. So we're setting a schedule that way, and then I'll update my calendar with your pickup dates and times usually. So if you ever forget what you scheduled with me or didn't write it down, you can always go back into the calendar and check, oh, I'm gonna meet her at this date at this time. And of course, if something comes up, let me know. For other sites, they use Sign Up Genius. So Karen has a very meticulous Sign Up Genius form where you can select your pickup and drop-off dates. And I know that she is very strict about that. You're like, if you told me you're gonna be here at this day, you better be here. Because that's what the time I reserved for you. So that's your time. Okay. Yep, when you do pick up a kit, you're gonna go through what you're picking up. It always still is very helpful when you get to your school or where you're going, go through it again, because if you are missing something, it's so much easier for me to get it to you as soon as possible versus when you're missing something and you're doing the lab in 10 minutes and you tell me, hey, I don't have this. And I'm like, okay, when's your lab? Right now. I'm like, okay, 20 minutes to your school. We'll try. So if you check the kit right away, we're gonna avoid any issues with that. You'll tell me and I can drive over to your school and give you whatever I forgot to give you because that was my bad. So always check your kit as soon as possible.
One of the tips that a new teacher gave at a talk, which I thought was really good, is she said once she got everything to her school, she actually opened the kit and sort of touched everything, so she knew where everything was in each kit box, and it helped her when she had to set it up.
If you do have any issues, of course, you can always contact your site coordinator and we'll help you to the best of our ability. This is just a review on the resources that Karen and Shahira have both already extensively talked about. So go to the website, tons of resources on there. You might have to schedule a separate time to pick up your Lab 5 and Lab 6 reagents. I do have some teachers that travel to me from Santa Barbara, and so they opt into picking everything up the day of. You can. Sometimes there's an issue with teachers not running all the labs through, and so it's kind of a big waste of time to pour all the plates if you're not going to run the labs all the way through. So to save us on time, sometimes we do split up that pickup. Okay, Form D, Form E. Again, please do them. We'll give you prizes if you do. Raffles.
That little star, upload your results photos. If you have troubles with the lab, we can't troubleshoot with you to help you determine what happened without data. So we need photos. You can't just say it just didn't work. We need photos to help you figure out what went wrong.
Good point. Very helpful. Okay, this is what a kit checklist looks like. So you should be getting this with your kit. You either get it as a printed copy or a digital version, and you always can go back and look at and see, oh yeah, I did check out this. So I better return it because I checked it out. And this again is a reminder on the bio-waste disposal. Only fill your autoclavable bags up to the autoclavable logos so that they're good to go for us. And again, no pizza boxes, no solo cups in there. We really just want the materials that touch the competent cells, Lab 6 cells, these specific labs, essentially Lab 5, Lab 6, and Lab 7. Also, don't put bleach in there. That could cause issues with the autoclave, so don't worry about that. We'll sterilize it.
Yeah, we actually changed the wording, so we updated that policy, and that's the new version, just to avoid some of the issues we were seeing with the autoclave bags.
Okay, and if you walk out the door and forget everything I said, no worries. Everything is on the YouTube also, so you can watch this quick little walkthrough video that will go step by step on how to pick up your kit, book your kit, fill out all the forms. It's all there. We also have a full write-up on every distribution center's website stating each step all the way through too. So you can't get lost. There are multiple resources out there for you to book a kit. this is, I think, just a reminder, go to the YouTube channel, I just said that. Lab Exchange is always a great resource for teachers. Most of you probably already know, since you're veteran teachers, that we have the virtual version of our curriculum on Lab Exchange, and you're welcome to use that as pre-labs or however you find it most useful in your classroom. These are some very common ways that we see Lab Exchange used. But again, most teachers tell us that they use it as pre-labs, or they have students do the labs virtually. If they were absent, they can catch up with their teams because they can do a full lab virtually.
I'd just like to add one thing, that Lab Exchange is very, very responsive in their help center. So if there's something you want to see on there, contact the help center and say, hey, this is a topic I want to see there. It's down at the bottom of the webpage.
They're really good. This is a reminder on T3, so we've talked about that. And go through the teacher resources, because you'll find troubleshooting resources there. You'll find guides in English and Spanish, so we have multilingual resources. It's pretty cool. But I will give this to you now.
Yeah, so we're coming to the end of the meeting, so I just wanted to make you aware of one program that was listed on our earlier slide, which is the volunteer program that allows you to connect with biotech professionals. They don't have to be research scientists, but biotech professionals that represent these multidisciplinary careers we mentioned, and they can come as speakers to your classroom. You could even create a panel. You know, you could even sign up to have multiple of them representing multiple careers. And this is organized by program office. The only issue with that is, I want to warn you that the toolkit link was removed. I removed the toolkit link from the presentation because they asked me to do so, because they're updating the platform. Okay, so this is why, so do not be alarmed. We were actually asked to do that, and so they will provide the link later on or shortly, and we will share that with all our teachers, not just with this group. Okay, but just keep that in mind as an option.
That link would tell them how to sign up for it.
It will tell you everything. It will show you how to sign up and give you details and all that, and show you the different options. And I think they removed it mainly for to expand the offerings. So, but you can see a lot of testimonials. The testimonials are still there. As mentioned, we are trying to expand our career and our outreach, sorry, and so we want to have you, spread, or we're asking you to spread out the word as much as possible. If you have friends, if you have colleagues in other schools or school districts, please let them know about the program. Send them our way, connect them with us. Would be helpful to meet them. Would be very happy to come and into your classroom to do outreach activities with your students. Most of the time that happens after the bell rings, but it could also be during your career fair day. So we're already signed up for some career fairs that are happening this month and next month. Anything that we can do to help you or help your colleagues and your friends, please let us know. Last but not least, we want to congratulate our raffle winners. So here are the raffle winners from the last raffle. Those are the teachers who completed Form D, which is the teacher survey. Okay, so congratulations to all of them. And then we want to encourage you to be a raffle winner. So please help us complete Form D, and please use your leverage, your authority, your power over your students to incentivize them to complete Form E, right? Form E is the student survey. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes before you leave us telling you a little bit about the background for this, right? So there is a reason for this. We want to collect this data from Form D and E to be able to determine what our impact is on your instruction, on the student learning outcomes, on the interest of the student in pursuing biotech or even bioscience careers and education pathways. We also want to use that information to help support us in grant writing, to help us with our outreach activities, and of course to take whatever feedback we get from you and your students to improve our program offerings, right? And so this is why it's very important for us to collect that data from these surveys. And ultimately the goal is to meet our program goals and the program goals of the program office, so we can provide the best experience for teachers and students. Yes. What question?
No.
Yeah. So, okay. So we will raffle off for next year for completing forms D and E, right? And then finally we have Karen will
The important
tell
part of
you.
the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Luz is going to pick up the lucky ice bucket today and play Secret Santa. So everyone put a raffle ticket in, right?
Did anyone not get a
think
raffle?
ahead and spike it? No? You're too honest. Okay, we have 3 prizes. The winner of the water bath with float racks is, yes, I don't have a nice blue bag that it fit in.
Steven.
Steven, come on down! The next raffle prize is a pipette A with a bag full of pipettes, and if you need more, Karen can supply you for the rest of your life, basically, because I go to the Amgen warehouse all the time. The next one is? Yeah, the box is right here. Take it home.
Okay, we have the Christie, number 532021.
And the third raffle prize is a repeat pipetter, and if you do not, I'm going to get you a different one. This one has sticky gum on it, I'll get you. If you don't understand what this is a fancy little thing that will repeat pipette the same volume 1,000,000 times. You change the tip on it, so it comes all the way from 10 microliters up to 500 microliters when you are pipetting 1,000,000 things, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this. You can switch it. I'll put a better one in here. But anyway, I can also get you 1 billion repeater pipette tips in the
And
future.
across.
And across. Woo! The donations in the back. Here's the rules. You all have to take a lot because Karen is not taking this home with her. There are paper bags on both sides. There's some paper bags on that end, paper bags there. There are empty cardboard boxes under the tables. And so you are welcome. Amgen evidently bought all the PPE in this country in 2020, and it's all coded out, so now they're trying to get rid of it, and I'm trying to dump it on you. So go have at it, and thank you for coming today. Thank you for taking time out on your Saturday.